The greatest trick the system ever played on you was convincing you that wealth is complicated, that it belongs to geniuses, to lucky people, to people born into the right families, with the right connections, in the right rooms. But that is not the truth. Wealth is not magic. It is not mystery. It is not even intelligence in the way most people understand intelligence. Wealth is usually the result of one brutal equation. Find pain, solve it, charge for the relief, keep the difference, turn the difference into assets, and protect those assets from everything trying to take them back. That is it. The reason most people never become wealthy is not because they are stupid. It is because they were trained to play the wrong game. They were taught to be good workers, good citizens, good employees, good consumers. They were taught to be polite, patient, grateful, obedient, and replaceable. And then they wonder why the world pays them like replaceable people. Machiavelli understood something most people still refuse to accept. The world does not reward virtue by itself. It rewards usefulness, leverage, control, position, power. You can be kind. You can be honest. You can be decent. But if you are not useful in a way that is rare and difficult to replace, the market will not care about your suffering. The market does not pay you for how hard your life is. It pays you for the pain you remove from someone else's life. That is the first law. Follow pain, not passion. Passion is beautiful. Passion gives life color. But passion alone does not make you rich. The world is full of passionate, broke people. Pain is different. Pain creates urgency. Urgency creates demand. Demand creates money. A dirty floor is a problem. A stopped heart is a catastrophe. That is why a heart surgeon earns more than a cleaner. Not because the cleaner works less, not because the cleaner is worth less as a human being, but because the pain being solved is different. One problem is inconvenient. The other problem is life or death. The bigger the pain, the bigger the price. So ask yourself honestly, what pain do I solve? If your answer is, I answer emails, you are in danger. If your answer is, I drive from one place to another, you are in danger. If your answer is, I do what my manager tells me, you are in danger. Because millions of people can do that. And anything millions of people can do will never make you powerful. You do not become wealthy by being busy. You become wealthy by becoming necessary. Do not make people love you. Make them need you. Love is unstable. Need is binding. If your employer likes you, he can still fire you when the budget gets tight. But if your employer needs you because you control the clients, the system, the sales, the code, the operation, or the revenue, then you are no longer just an employee. You are leverage, and leverage is where wealth begins. The second law is simple. Stop selling time. Poor people sell time. Rich people build systems that buy time. If you must be physically present to earn, you are trapped inside your own body. Your income depends on your hours. Your hours depend on your energy. Your energy depends on your health, and your health declines with age. That is not freedom. That is a countdown. The rich understand leverage. They use other people's labor. They use capital. They use code. They use media. They use distribution. A normal worker does something once and gets paid once. A person with leverage does something once and gets paid again and again. A YouTube video is leverage. A book is leverage. A business is leverage. Software is leverage. A brand is leverage. An investment portfolio is leverage. The poor spend their lives being the machine. The rich spend years building the machine. And once the machine works, it earns while they sleep, travel, think, recover, or build the next one. So stop asking, how can I work harder? Start asking, how can I separate my income from my presence? That question alone can change your life. The third law, perception is not decoration. Perception is power. Most people hate this because it feels unfair. They want to believe that if they are skilled, honest, and hardworking, the world will automatically notice. It will not. The world is too busy, too distracted, too shallow, too overwhelmed. People do not pay you based only on what you are. They pay you based on what they believe you are. Machiavelli wrote that everyone sees what you appear to be, but few experience what you truly are. In the game of wealth, appearance is not vanity. It is a signal. If you look desperate, people negotiate against you. If you look cheap, people treat you cheaply. If you look uncertain, people hesitate to trust you. But if you communicate discipline, clarity, confidence, and scarcity, people assume value before you even prove it. Take two consultants. Consultant A is brilliant, but he looks exhausted. His website is weak. He speaks too fast. He replies instantly because he is desperate for the job. He explains too much. He discounts too quickly. Consultant B is not as gifted, but his presentation is clean. His words are controlled. His website is sharp. His calendar is limited. His price is high. His boundaries are clear. Who gets the better client? Usually Consultant B, not because he is better, because he is perceived as more valuable. This is painful, but it is true. Price is a signal. Scarcity is a signal. Confidence is a signal. Silence is a signal. Your clothes, your voice, your website, your social media, your posture, your response time, your boundaries, all of it tells the world how to treat you. So ask yourself, are you signaling, I am a commodity? Or are you signaling, I am rare? Money flows toward the rare. The fourth law, eliminate everything that keeps you poor. People think wealth comes from adding more ideas, more contacts, more apps, more motivation, more information. But often, wealth begins by removing. Remove the people who normalize failure. Remove the habits that destroy focus. Remove the content that makes you angry, but not stronger. Remove the excuses that make poverty feel noble. Your environment is not neutral. It is either pulling you upward or training you to stay where you are. If all your friends complain about money, you will slowly inherit their relationship with money. If your partner fears safety more than freedom, they may pull you back to the ground every time you try to rise. If your phone owns your attention, your future is being auctioned off by algorithms. Every hour you spend scrolling, someone else is getting richer from your attention. You are not relaxing. You are being harvested. Attention is raw material. Without attention, you cannot learn. You cannot build. You cannot sell. You cannot think. You cannot escape. In a world addicted to dopamine, focus is the new IQ. The person who can sit alone for 4 hours and work on one valuable thing without distraction is becoming almost supernatural. Protect that ability, because without focus, every ambition becomes fantasy. The fifth law, stop trying to be harmless. This is where most people get uncomfortable. You are taught that wanting money is greedy, that ambition is selfish, that charging high prices is wrong, that being aggressive is ugly, that saying no makes you a bad person. But understand this, if you feel guilty for receiving money, you will push money away. Money is not taken when real value is exchanged. Money is a receipt. It proves that someone valued your solution more than the amount they paid for it. If you solve a serious problem, charging for it is not exploitation. It is exchange. But the market is not soft. Business is competition. When you win attention, someone else loses it. When you win a client, someone else does not. When you negotiate a higher salary, the company keeps less. That is the game. If you are too polite to ask, someone else will take the opportunity. If you are too afraid to charge, someone else will charge more for worse work. If you are too desperate to be liked, you will become easy to use. Machiavelli's lesson was not that you must become cruel. It was that goodness without strength becomes weakness. In business, it is better to be respected for competence and boundaries than loved for being easy to manipulate. Stop trying to be the nice guy who never disappoints anyone. Say no, raise your price, walk away, fire bad clients, end useless conversations, protect your mission. You do not need to become heartless, but you do need to become harder to control. The sixth law: build a fortress around what you earn. Making money is only half the game. Keeping it is the part most people ignore. The world is designed to pull your money back out of your hands. Taxes want a piece. Inflation eats quietly. Companies want you consuming. Friends and family may want favors. Your ego wants status. Your insecurity wants luxury. If you make $1 million and spend $1 million, you are not wealthy. You are a high-paid pipe. Money passed through you. Wealth is what stays in the reservoir. That means you do not upgrade your life every time your income rises. You do not buy luxury with labor. You buy assets with labor. Then, one day, your assets can buy luxury. If you work to buy the car, you are the servant of the car. If your assets pay for the car, the asset is the servant. That is the difference. Hidden wealth is stronger than loud wealth. The loudest person in the room is often the most fragile. He buys things to prove he is rich. The truly powerful do not need to prove it. They buy freedom. Freedom to wake up without panic. Freedom to say no. Freedom to leave. Freedom to disappear. Freedom to choose their day. That is real luxury. Not the watch, not the car, not the logo. Freedom. The seventh law: use time as a weapon. You are dying. Not as an insult, as a fact. Every second that passes is gone forever. And most people trade those seconds carelessly. They wait in line to save $5. They spend hours on tasks someone else could do cheaply. They attend meetings that should have been emails. They answer messages that did not deserve their attention. They give away pieces of their life because they are afraid to look rude. If your goal is wealth, you must become obsessed with the value of your time. If you want to become rich, you cannot treat your hour like it is worth nothing. You must ask, is this task worth the person I am trying to become? If the answer is no, eliminate it, automate it, delegate it, outsource it. And yes, at first it will feel uncomfortable. You will say, I cannot afford help. But often the truth is, you cannot afford not to get help. Because while you are trapped doing low-value work, you are not developing high-value skills. Protect your time like a dragon protects gold. Become harder to reach. Say no without guilt. Stop attending things out of obligation. Stop explaining yourself to people who are not building anything. The more scarce your time becomes, the more valuable it appears. And the more valuable it appears, the more carefully people treat it. The eighth law: find your unfair advantage. The world tells you to play fair. But wealth rarely comes from fairness. It comes from asymmetry. You want opportunities where the downside is limited, but the upside is enormous. A normal job usually has limited upside. You will not earn 100 times your salary next month. But the downside is real. You can still be fired, replaced, ignored, underpaid. That is bad asymmetry. A business, a media brand, a specialized skill, a niche service, or a smart investment may fail. But if it works, it can change your life. That is good asymmetry. So ask yourself, what do I know that others do not? Who do I know that others do not? What am I willing to do that others avoid? What language do I speak? What culture do I understand? What pain have I lived through that gives me insight? What obsession do I have that others would find boring? That may be your unfair advantage. Do not try to be well-rounded. Well-rounded people make decent employees. Exceptional people sharpen one edge until it becomes dangerous. If you write well, write until words become your weapon. If you sell well, sell until you own the company. If you understand a niche market, dominate it. Specialization is how ordinary people become irreplaceable. Do not compete everywhere. Find a weak point in the market, something ignored, something done badly, something painful, something urgent. Then attack that point with everything you have. Do not compete. Dominate. The ninth law: kill hope. Hope is not a strategy. I hope they promote me. I hope the economy improves. I hope I get lucky. I hope someone notices me. This is the language of people waiting to be rescued. No one is coming. There is no rich uncle, no perfect economy, no magical lottery ticket, no government program that will build your life for you. There is only you, and the cold, indifferent reality of the market. This terrifies weak people, but it frees strong people. Because if everything depends on you, then you are not helpless. You have control, not total control, but enough to learn a valuable skill, enough to solve a painful problem, enough to charge for it, enough to save the difference, enough to buy assets, enough to repeat the process until your life changes. That is the plan. It is not sexy. It is not mystical. It is not complicated. It is boring. And that is why most people fail. They do not fail because the path is hidden. They fail because the path is repetitive. The only variable is discipline. Will you do the boring work when no one claps? Will you study when others scroll? Will you build when others complain? Will you look foolish long enough to become dangerous? If yes, wealth becomes less mysterious, not guaranteed overnight, not easy, but logical, because the equation is simple. Find pain, solve pain, charge for relief, use leverage, protect capital, buy time, repeat. The hard part is not knowing what to do. The hard part is becoming the kind of person who actually does it. That person does not need constant approval. That person does not collapse when criticized. That person does not confuse comfort with safety. That person sees the world not as it should be, but as it is. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. You will find it harder to complain, harder to waste time, harder to tolerate mediocrity, harder to sit in rooms where everyone is explaining why nothing is possible. Wealth isolates you before it frees you, because growth separates you from the identity that made your old life feel normal. Most people would rather be poor and understood than rich and alone. But if you are still listening, something in you already knows the truth. You were not made to be a machine. You were made to build one. You were not made to wait for permission. You were made to take position. You were not made to hope. You were made to act. And the moment you stop asking the world to save you, you begin to become dangerous. Not dangerous to people, dangerous to the version of yourself that was trained to obey. That is where wealth begins. Not in the bank, not in the market, not in the business. It begins the moment you stop playing the role assigned to you and start building the life that requires no permission.